Skye Terrier. Story and description of this breed of dogs. The Skye Terrier breed takes its name from the island of Skye, which lies in the northwest of Scotland and is the largest island of the so-called Inner Hebrides. This island is literally made up of rocks, fjords, peat, beautiful clear streams and is sparsely populated. It is shrouded in fog for most of the year, and it often rains, but it is beautiful nonetheless. The wild nature, the heath and the sea, which can be very wild at times, and in strong winds the high waves crash against the rocky shore, where in former times many a ship was wrecked. It's a bit spooky, very romantic place with an old history that is quite cruel. In the past, the island was ruled by two clans, the MacDonalds and the MacLeods. They fought constant disputes for control of the island, and in one bloody battle, the king had to intervene to settle the dispute. Both of these clans, of course, bred Skye Terriers. History gives more credit for this breeding to the MacDonald clan who lived in the Duntulm settlement at Armadale Castle, which now exists only as a ruin. One Lady MacDonald bred dogs that were the ancestors of today's Skye Terrier from as early as the 14th century. She kept a record of this breeding, stating that the Skye Terrier breed was created by crossing Spanish dogs with local terriers. In the Scottish Highlands, almost every small dog was called a terrier. During the reign of Queen Elizabeth I, who was the daughter of Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn, a great naval battle took place between England and Spain in 1588. An English blockade followed and all Spanish ships had to sail around Scotland and the Hebrides to break the blockade. Most of the ships were carrying gold and so were often the prey of pirates. It was not only pirates at sea, but also on land, who used lights to guide ships onto the sharp cliffs of the Hebridean Islands during storms and also onto the Isle of Skye, where they were wrecked. There was a family clan of pirates on the Isle of Skye, and after the death of the chief, his daughter, who was a rather feared pirate, took over. The Spaniards carried dogs on their ships as well as gold. It is not impossible that one of these dogs would have swum ashore after the disaster, and so was instrumental in the creation of the Skye Terrier breed. The West Highlands of Scotland were also frequently visited by the Vikings in their fast dragon-headed ships. These were not just raiding expeditions, but they were looking for new homes for members of their clans. Their extraordinary breeds such as Drever, Balhan certainly contributed to the creation of some of Scotland's breeds, not least the Skye Terrier. The ancestors of today's Skye Terriers looked very different from what we know today. They were smaller, shorter in body, had very thick coats that protected them well from the harsh climate of the islands. Their ears were flapping. All terriers were and are hunting dogs. In those days, the main criterion was not exterior, but working ability. The dogs that crossed paths were mainly those that were very aggressive when hunting vermin. Terriers worked mostly in rocky terrain and had to cope with every situation completely on their own. Mostly they were in packs and worked like that. On the Isle of Skye, Captain Alan MacDonald used such a pack of Skye Terriers. He caught 30 foxes and 50 otters in one season with this pack without firing his rifle, which he would only use if the dog's life was at stake. From Scotland, Skye Terriers were brought to England by James Pratt, who was the Queen's physician. He wrote a book about them and trained his dogs daily in Hyde Park, London. He was so popular with them that he even got a letter with this address, Man with a Skye Terrier, London, and surprise surprise, the letter arrived. One of his dogs was so well trained that he carried letters and parcels to the post office and was said to be able to carry a basket of eggs even if he met a cat on the way. Of course, the then Queen Victoria found a liking for the Skye Terrier breed, and took to breeding them at her Windsor kennel. There are pictures of her with these dogs. By the end of the 19th century, the dog was so popular that no noblewoman in England showed up without her Skye Terrier. Since Queen Victoria's husband was German, this dog was also among the German nobility. It was owned by Mary Stuart, Maria Theresa. In our modern times it was the composer L. Bernstein who even wrote a musical composition for Skye Terriers. It was owned by the writer Stevenson, the inventor Bell and others. To our republic, Czech Republic, came Skye Terrier in 1930 and was from the breeding of the Crown Princess of German origin. The Skye Terrier has always been a dog of the nobility since the MacDonald and MacLeod clans bred them. He has never been a poor man's dog. If we move from the legendary days to the present day, we see how the breed has changed not only in exterior but also in character. The conformation is different, the body is long, well-muscled, the bone is strong, the ear is erect, but the flap ear has remained as a second variant in the breed standard and is also coated. There are not so many individuals with the flap ear, but fortunately there are many fans who are breeding this variant. Today's Skye Terrier has a long coat that has a dense undercoat. It is originally a hunting dog, mainly for fox, badger, wild cat, otter and others. Today it is kept more as a companion dog because of its special exterior and is a very beautiful dog for outdoor shows. If we look into his mouth, where his teeth are of a size comparable with those of the large breed, he does not seem to be such a pet again, but his disposition has changed much for the better since the days when he chased vermin in Scotland. Skye Terrier on his short legs is very agile, fast, does not have spinal problems like a dachshund, although his back is long. It does not suffer from hereditary diseases and lives to a long age, 15 years or more. The male weighs 17 kilograms at maturity, the female 12 to 13 kilograms. The coat is double undercoat, it is soft and covering, the hair is harder. The color is black, silver, cream, platinum, but the ears must always be black. Skye Terrier is not clipped or trimmed, just brushed and bathed as needed. Just brush regularly once a week with a good brush and comb, using conditioners to detangle. The dog lies on its side when brushing, which needs to be taught from puppyhood as every terrier is stubborn. It is not a good idea to blow dry the dog frequently after bathing, it will over-dry the coat and break it. After bathing, it is dried in terry towels and then brushed again when wet with conditioners. If the dog goes to shows, it must have an excellent diet, good coat care and learn the so-called show drill. With Skye Terriers this is sometimes not so easy, you have to have a lot of patience and teach him everything from a young age. The Scots say that the undercoat of the Skye Terrier is like lamb's fleece and the covering hair is like horsehair. The brushed undercoat, which is expertly spun, makes a warm and interesting sweater. Dog breeds, Skye Terrier, is distinguished by its great loyalty to its master and his family. This is evidenced by the story of Greyfriars Bobby, who lived on his master's grave for 14 years. His master was a policeman and died of tuberculosis. After his funeral Bobby refused to leave his master's grave. Many people tried to do so, but in vain. He was very popular in Edinburgh. People brought him food and he had a hut in the churchyard next to his master's grave where he could stay. He was given a collar with a tag by the local lord to prove that the tax had been duly paid for him. When Bobby died, he was buried next to his beloved master. A collection was made amongst the people of Edinburgh and a fountain was subsequently built, on top of which is a statue of a dog representing Bobby. This story was written by the writer Eleanor Atkinson and made into a film by W. Disney. The Skye Terrier is a very elegant, dignified and intelligent dog, as he chooses his own leader in the family. It is a dog that is courageous, confident and fearless. He is reserved with strangers and does not make friends at first sight. The more a stranger imposes himself on him, the more he shows no interest in him. He likes the children in his family, but may not tolerate their friends and some of their childish games. It is important to explain to children that a dog is not a living toy and not to leave them alone with a dog. This is true for any breed. The Skye Terrier guards its territory, is very jealous. His love and trust must be earned. He is a sensitive dog, but not submissive. He will only be satisfied by a person who has a deep and strong relationship with him. He is quite picky about who wins his affection. He is proud and hates impositions. We must also assume that he has always been in royal and noble families and has never been commanded by anyone, and his hunting profession also required independence and hardness. He is a self-confident, dominant dog that needs a lot of attention from his youth. With the right upbringing he will become a well-controlled, affectionate dog. He does not tolerate drill and cannot be ordered around like other breeds that can take it. He jealously guards whom he loves and also guards his belongings. From a young age it is necessary to win his trust, not to exert any violence. He will understand everything well if we use the proper method. He will not put up with what he considers beneath him or a situation that is incomprehensible to him. He likes to be spoken to loudly or in a whisper. He hates rude language. It is not good to impose a situation that is incomprehensible to him or that he thinks he is in danger. He is prudent. He does not rush into any situation headlong. He examines everything thoroughly. Sometimes he may give the impression of being afraid, but this is just caution, not fear. He needs a lot of attention in puppyhood, when he is forming a new relationship with his owner and his family. From a young age, he needs to be accustomed to grooming, leash, opening the muzzle, etc., so that there will be no unpleasantness in adulthood. The Skye Terrier is not a suitable dog for a pen or kennel, which can take many different forms. He loves to live close to his family to be the center of all the action. Because of his dominant nature, it is not advisable to keep him with multiple breeds together. In his territory he will want to boss even a large breed and problems will arise in the form of fights. He is absolutely not suitable for so-called pen breeding. He will get to know the person he likes even after a very long time, but he ignores the one who hurt him and hates him all his life. In adulthood, he hates to change masters, as long as he is well. Otherwise, when it is necessary for him to go to another home where he will be liked, he maps the situation for a long time before showing his affection. Shows are sufficient to keep a dog or bitch. A bitch is not allowed for the first time until she is 3 years old. They are good mothers, they do not have problems with giving birth. Up to 12 puppies can be born. The color varieties will interbreed and the puppies will never be spotted. Unfortunately, there is not much interest in this breed and therefore it has never become and will never become a fashionable dog, which is a good thing because it is always the undoing of a breed when it falls into fashion. It's a breed of few numbers, not even widespread in the world outside the US and UK. The Skye Terrier is a good dog for agility, small breed sporting cynology, dog dancing and other activities. The Scots say of this breed, treat it as a choice companion, give it preference over any other animal friend, it will know no other man but its master, and will listen to no stranger's voice. He will cling to your bed when it is deserted, and he will guard your grave. Such is Skye Terrier, a dog with a big and sensitive soul, a proud and courageous dog from the Scottish Highlands. Thank you for your attention in telling us about a great breed of dog, the Skye Terrier.